I have been getting so many fantastic questions and requests from you guys. Recently, at Mark the Spark 6240 asked this. Good day, Doug. I was just watching Tom Bukovac this morning. Around 23 minutes in, he was asked how to get a good live sound. He answered by saying the best live sound he has had while playing with Ann Wilson was 2 amps, a 59 Tweed Bassman and a Blackface Pro Reverb with the volume on 3. He also said it could be a variation on models, but always a combination of the Tweed and Blackface. Maybe you could show us how to do the ultimate live Bukovac rig? Have a great week. Can't wait till next Wednesday for your next video. I've been seeing a lot about Tom Bukovac lately, especially since he and Guthrie Trapp released an album in May of 2024 called In Stereo. Rick Beato calls Bukovac and Trapp Nashville's hottest guitar gunslingers. Bukovac, or Uncle Larry as he is known, has some big pedal boards. Yeah, he has more than one. He plays on all sorts of sessions in Nashville, so he has to have different pedal boards for different clients. Now, we won't be able to reproduce his entire pedal board, but maybe we can get the essence of it. Let's open up Pro Control and see what we can come up with. In a recent Premier Guitar video, Bukovac described his boards as having 6 or 7 stages of gain, a volume pedal, and then all the trail. If we look at his board, we can see that going from right to left we have a Line 6 expression pedal, a Nobles ODR1, an Analog Man King of Tone, a Proco Rat, a Greer Amps Lightspeed, a Boss GE7 EQ pedal, a Spontaneous Audio Devices Son of Kong, a Vertex Boost, a Peterson Strobe Tuner, an Ibanez PQ 401 Parametric Equalizer, a Strymon Lex, a Volume Pedal, an Electro Harmonix POG 2, an Earthquaker Devices Dispatch Master, a Boss VB2 and a TR2, a Strymon Brigadier, a Line 6 M9, an Eventide H9, and his power supplies. His board runs into an Ebo Customs Everb and then into his amp or amps. So it's pretty obvious that we can't make a complete copy of this rig on the Tone Master Pro. But if we pare it down, we can probably come up with something that resembles his rig. Here's how my preset was put together. First thing, click on Preset Settings, Signal Path Type, and change from Instrument Series to Instrument Parallel 1. Click Confirm. Click the back arrow. The next thing I did was I added the amps. I added the 59 Bassman and put it on the top path. We don't have the Pro Reverb in the Tone Master Pro, so I'm using the Deluxe Reverb Blonde in the bottom path. This preset pushed the Tone Master Pro to its limits. I wanted to add the 63 Spring Reverb Convolution after the amps, but it didn't leave me enough memory for the other pedals. I really hope that Fender can add a memory usage meter in a future update. It would make it a lot easier to swap out different effects and see what'll fit in the preset and what won't. Anyway, I ended up adding the small hall reverb. I'll leave the reverb on, so I won't be adding a foot switch for it. That leaves all 8 foot switches available for other effects. Let's try 3 gain pedals and an EQ pedal. That leaves 4 foot switches for trail, as he calls it. We'll add a tremolo, vibrato, rotary speaker, and a delay. We have a built-in tuner, so we don't need to replicate the strobe tuner. For effects, I started off with the Nashville overdrive, then I added the Royal Tone, the Rodent, the EQ7 graphic, the volume pedal, the tremolo, JC vibrato, rotary speaker 147, and memory delay. I also took the small hall reverb and moved it from after the amps to before the amps, again more to mimic his board. Okay, so why these choices? Well, the Nashville overdrive is inspired by the Nobles ODR1. There's a pretty famous story about Bukovac buying up 40 of the Nobles ODR1 pedals when they first came out. He supposedly sold 20 or so of them to his Nashville session buddies and kept the rest for himself. In short time, the Nobles ODR1 was the dirt pedal of choice in Nashville, and it's on thousands of recordings. The Royal Tone is inspired by the Analog Man Prince of Tone, which is a one-channel version of the Analog Man King of Tone. The Rodent is inspired by the Proco Rat. The EQ7 graphic is inspired by the Boss GE7. The Tremolo is inspired by the Boss TR2. Those are as close to one-to-one matches as we're gonna get. We don't have a Boss VB2 in the ToneMaster Pro, so I'm substituting the JC vibrato, which was inspired by the analog vibrato in the Roland JC120 amp. We also don't have a Strymon Lex, but that's just a Leslie rotating speaker simulator. That's why I'm substituting the Rotary Speaker 147. And we don't have any of the delays that Bukovac has on his board, so I chose the Deluxe Memory Delay, which was inspired by the Electro-Harmonix Deluxe Memory Man, a late 70s Bucket Brigade delay pedal. Bukovac says that he recently sold his last 3 Memory Man delays and now uses the Strymon Brigadier because maintenance on the Memory Man units was just getting to be too much. I noticed when I was testing out this preset that there was some extra noise that I didn't really like, and I took a look and actually was able to add a noise gate. That truly did max out the unit. So Bukovac's board has 19 pedals on it, while our preset has 11. So we don't really have the versatility of his pedal board. We also don't have to deal with a massive pedal board or 2 combo amps and all of the cabling that goes into it. Now for the settings. We can easily see how he has his Nobles ODR set, as well as the King of Tone and the Rat. I'll use his settings. The King of Tone is basically 2 distortions in 1 pedal. Each side has separate volume, drive, and tone knobs. There is also a 4-position configuration dip switch on the inside of the King of Tone, which you can use to choose between clean, overdrive, and distortion modes for each side. It also has an internal trim pot for adjusting presence. Version 4 of this pedal also gives you an option for a 3-position switch on the front, which is how Fender has the Royal Tone configured. Fender also added the presence control on the outside of the pedal. I'll use Bukovac's settings from the left side of the King of Tone. Since we can't see the dip switches or the internal presence trim pot, I'm going to leave those at default values. Now we get to the EQ7 graphic equalizer. Bukovac says that he could do a whole gig with just that pedal. He calls it the ultimate boost pedal. Boost the mids and gain, and when you kick it in, the whole world will know that it's solo time. We'll give those settings a try. Next is the volume pedal, and after it we have the tremolo pedal. His Boss TR2 has 3 knobs for rate, wave, and depth, but our tremolo pedal has rate, intensity, duty cycle, tap division, shape, and LFO clip. 3 knobs versus 6. Now what? Well, time to check out the ToneMaster Pro model guide. Rate is the same on both units. Intensity on the ToneMaster Pro's pedal is the same as depth on Bukovac's pedal. And shape on the ToneMaster Pro pedal is the same as wave on Bukovac's pedal. Since Bukovac's trem pedal doesn't have duty cycle, tap division, or LFO clip, I'll leave those parameters at their default settings. Moving on to vibrato, Bukovac's VB2 has controls for rate, depth, rise time, and mode. Our JC vibrato has rate, depth, tap division, and a stereo mono switch. Oddly enough, the rate and depth are the same as Bukovac's settings. Now we move on to rotating speaker. Bukovac has version 1 of the Strymon Lex, which I also had before I got into modelers. His Lex has controls for fast rotor speed, mic distance, horn level, and preamp drive, plus secondary functions like cab direction, slow rotor speed, level, and acceleration. The ToneMaster Pro's Rotary Speaker 147 has controls for drive, tone, level, fast, slow, a speed switch, ramp, sense, and dynamics. So it's definitely not a close match, but we can use his preamp drive and fast rotor settings. The rest are default settings. Next we get to delay. His Strymon Brigadier has controls for time, bucket loss, mode, repeats, tap, mod, and mix. The Deluxe Memory Delay has controls for time, tap division, feedback, mix, depth, gain, grit, mode, and spillover. we can use his settings for time, repeats, and mix. The mode controls are completely different, but I think his tap control is the same as tap division. If you watch the video, he starts off with a long delay setting for leads, but then he dials in a really short slapback echo to use with rhythm guitar. At first I thought that I'd be restricted to either the short or long delay, but I was able to set it so that it defaults to a short delay, and when we click on the EQ7 for that lead boost, it changes to a long delay. Now all in all, it's not really a close match, but they're both Bucket Brigade delays, so I'm hoping it's close enough. We wrap it up with the reverb. This is one area where I had to wing it. Bukovac's eVerb is a spring reverb, and all of the spring reverbs were grayed out in the Tone Master Pro. But when you listen to him playing, his reverb sounds a lot more lush than a simple spring reverb. So out of the choices I had left, I chose the small hall reverb. I tweaked the mix and damping parameters to try to get closer to Bukovac's reverb sound. It's up to you to decide if I got close or not. Speaking of winging it, I'll start off with the settings on his board, but they might not match the same parameters on the Tone Master Pro, so I'm going to tweak accordingly. This preset also uses 3 switch link groups. The memory delay and the EQ7 are on switch link A. The Nashville Overdrive, Royal Tone, and the Rodent are on switch link B. The JC Vibrato and the Rotary Speaker 147 are on switch link C. Now, in case switch link isn't familiar to you, it's a feature that Fender added to the foot switches that lets you group various pedals together so you don't have to do the pedal dance to turn one pedal off and another on at the same time. When you turn one pedal on in a switch link group, all the other pedals in that group stay off. Now, in the video that I watched, Bukovac plays a Gibson ES335. I used to have one, but for this video, I'm using my PRS McCarty 594 Hollow Body 2. And I don't have anything even remotely close to his hands and skill set, but I'll see what I can do. Now, I'll post a link to the video that I used for research in the description. I put this preset up on the cloud for you to try. It's called DB Uncle Larry, and I hope you give it a shot and tell me what you think of it. All right, let's demo this preset. Okay, folks, we will start this preset off with just the gate and the reverb on. Well, and of course the amps too, but no other effects. So it sounds like this. Now if we kick in the Royal Tone, we get something like this. The Nashville Overdrive is set just a little bit differently. Now for the Rodent. Okay, now let's add the short slapback echo to the Rodent. So you can hear that short slapback echo, right? Now I'll kick in the graphic EQ7, which is used as a lead boost, and you will hear a long delay. Now remember, there is only one delay on this board, but I've got it set up with switch link so that I can go from the short to the fast with no problem. Check it out. All right, now let's try the tremolo. Now let's try JC vibrato. Now let's try the rotary 147. So there it is, guys. Those are the various foot switch settings for my Tom Bukovac preset. Now I'll go ahead and do a song demo for you so you can hear it in the context of a song. This request was a serious challenge and took the better part of a week to dial in. Now, I wasn't really consciously familiar with much of Bukovac's work prior to this, so I bought that album that I mentioned before, In Stereo, the one that he and Guthrie Trapp put out. I am telling you, if you want to hear some absolutely amazing guitar work and some very cool instrumental songs, pick up that album. You can get it at bandcamp.com for $10, and I'm telling you, it'll be $10 well spent. Now, if you've heard something from it or you already have it, let me know what you think about it. Like I said, I think it is amazing. And if you're still here, thank you so much for stopping by and sticking around. I really do appreciate it. If you guys have any more comments, questions, or suggestions, drop me a line here and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Now, next Wednesday, I'll be having all new content. You don't want to miss that. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. All right, guys, have a fantastic week, and I'll be talking with you again next Wednesday.